Just making sure that the audio is coming through. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Sorry, got some stuff going on in the background, sorry. And I'm going to turn that down a bit so I can hear myself think. So can you guys hear me? To those few people tuning in, I'm hoping you can hear me because really, as I said previously in the description of this, I'm going to be following a little bit of a different format this evening. I'm not going to be discussing much about Peace Island. I'm more going to be going into what I've learned over the last several years as an independent game developer, and this is stuff that stuff that I'm guilty of, stuff that a lot of it may sound very simple and evident, but it bears repeating again and again, apparently, and a few other things. So let me just get some audio in the background so I'm listening to something other than my horrible voice, and just go over here. Just want to make sure that you guys can hear me. Nobody has commented, but my audio levels are going out as good, so I guess we are good. Now, you're going to have to pardon my rather primitive way of showing this off. I didn't create, a PDF or a PowerPoint thing. I just put it out in Flash because that's the way I always usually put together really quick things. So I'm probably going to be nattering on for about, I'd say, a good half hour. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to enter them as we go along. And if you guys can't hear me, if there's any problems with audio, I'd appreciate if you could give me a confirmation in the chat as I go ahead. So now the first part I'm going to go into here is things you should really think about before you even start, even before you get into game development. Hi, Jack Outlaw. Can you hear me, Jack Outlaw? Well, I know that's going to be about 20 seconds before it gets to you guys. So I'm going to be sipping throughout because, as again, I don't talk very often out loud and at length. So, he can hear me. Fantastic. So I can proceed. Okay. So as I said, and thank you. Maybe we'll talk about Peace Island a little bit later on. This is, again, sort of boring, stuff. But, I wanted to... I don't know, these are things that I've wanted to bring up time and again during the last 3 years because, it's stuff that, I had to learn, and it's stuff that hopefully people will, forewarned is forearmed, and you'll be able to go into this with a little bit more of a better idea of what's awaiting you. So now, before you even start, now, I've gone over some of these before. There are 3 things you got to go into. Number 1, you gotta want it. And here is the thing. I used to think I knew what I wanted, because at a certain point in my life, I thought I wanted to become a novelist. And I sat down and I had the biggest problems time and time again. And of course, perspiration versus inspiration and all that taken into account. I was just getting absolutely nowhere and getting more and more frustrated. And a friend of mine, Jose Calderon, he said to me, Eric, there's one thing you got to know about, if you want to become a writer, you got to want it. You got to want it more than anything. And, I got so frustrated because I thought that was condescending, because I was like, oh, come on, I want to become a writer. It isn't just enough to say, I want to become a writer. You got to want it. You've got to want it more than anything. You got to want it to the extent that after you get home, after an 11-and-a-half-hour shift behind a grill, and you have maybe an hour before you have to go to sleep to get up early for another 11-and-a-half-hours behind a grill, you're going to take as many minutes as you can out of that hour to get a teeny bit done on your game. You're not going to hang out with your friends. You're not going to go see movies. You're not going to go see concerts. That is the extent you have to want it. It may sound crazy, but the thing is, once I understood the extent that I wanted to become a game dev, I finally understood what my friend Jose was saying when he said, to become a writer, you really got to want it. And that's the thing. You really got to want it. And it's like Marriage Man for sicker or for sicker or richer or poorer, ill health and wellness, etc., etc. I'm not a preacher, but anyway, I got that first point across. Now the second one here is something I call the Mandela effect. Now, some people are out there thinking that, pardon me, I may be discussing the phenomenon about like parallel universes, the feeling that you've like switched from one universe to another. But no, I'm referring to the first Democrat, more majority elected president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela. You see, Nelson Mandela, and this has been said time and time again from anybody that knew him at the time, even the guards that guarded him at his prison. They said when he was taken into jail, from the very moment that he arrived in Robben Island prison, he conducted himself as if he was going to be the next president of South Africa. It didn't matter whether he was out there breaking rocks on the other side of this desert island for 8 to 10 or 12 hours a day. He was going to be the next president of South Africa. And throughout the decades that he stayed there, he just maintained that attitude of, I'm going to be the next president of South Africa. I'm going to conduct myself. I'm going to stand up for myself as if I'm going to be the next president of South Africa. And by the time he left the prison, the guards were even like believing him. They were like, we got a prisoner over here. He needs a little bit of extra care because he's going to be the next president of South Africa. Now, how does that relate to game development? When you have decided that you're a game developer, you are a game developer. You may be going and making burgers at a restaurant or doing some crappy data entry job or some lousy graphic design job you don't like. But at the point you've decided that you're a game designer, you are a game designer, and you have to internalize that. You have to carry it with you, and you have to make it part of yourself. And some people say, well, that's faking it until you make it. Well, no, the thing is I don't think that Nelson Mandela was faking it. I think he truly believed he was going to be the next president of South Africa, and he conducted himself as if he was going to be throughout those years. And again, if you're going to enter in this thing, that's the way you got to approach it. You have to internalize that from this point onwards. You are a game developer, and that is where you're headed, and nothing's going to get in your way. And it may take decades to get there, but that is what you are. Now, the third one is build it and they will come. Now, I talk about promotion and, social media a little bit lower. But notice here I say I build it and they will come. I don't say promote it and they will come. I say this because I noticed, a couple of months after I learned Unity, I was I was going over to the Reddit Unity 3D forums, and there were some people there, and they were like, my goodness, I've been working on my project for all of 6 weeks, and I've set up a Kickstarter, and no money is coming in. My goodness. So what in the heck am I doing wrong? Well, the problem is they hadn't built anything. Understand, I worked on Peace Island all my lonesome for well onto a year. Well, not all, Laura and I worked on it by ourselves well onto a year before we even put up a first Kickstarter, which of course failed. I think about a month and a half later we put up another one, and that is so about a year after we started, we actually, were able to get a little bit of funding, and that's because we had spent that previous year building the game world to the best of our ability, and understand. Well, no, that's another thing entirely. This actually feeds into it. A lot of people think that they can't start off with their game development because they don't know every facet of Unity development. Here's the thing. You can work with Unity for many, many years and you will not become a master of every facet of Unity development. Unity has so many factors to it that if you are very good with a certain kind of programming, if you're good with visual design, there is a launching point that you can insert yourself into. That's a bad gesture there, but anyway, you could. There's a point where you can insert yourself into Unity and expand your knowledge outward from there. I mean. For example, every day from when I was just getting started off, if I was able to do an hour's worth of learning something about coding, something that was painful in my brain, I would reward myself by allowing myself to build a world for the rest of the day. But you got to find a way in, and don't wait until you're a master of everything. Again, go back to the Mandela effect. You are a game developer today, right now. Start thinking and acting and believing in that manner. So, and I'm not much of a motivational speaker, so let's just continue to the next one. We got, unfortunately, about a lot of slides, but we're going to get through them. Okay, now, why is this? Oh, I see. Ha! I did this wrong. No, I did it right. Great. Okay. It's misnumbered. But this is, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to change it really quick. So it's 1. Sorry. Oh my goodness. How embarrassing. But the thing is I'm not a chart maker. I'm not a teacher. But anyway, number 1, give yourself permission to fail. And this is very, very important in your first couple of days and weeks and months and probably years of game development. You're going to fail, and you're going to fail a lot. I knew this one guy at my old job as a line cook, and when I told him about Unity and that it was free, and you could download it, and for like $20 you could go onto Udemy and get a course that would guide you through all the facets of game development, all the way from like introduction coding all the way to creating like 7 very primitive games. But anyway, I pointed him toward that, and he never got past the first lesson because he said, I did the code and it didn't work. And of course, anybody who's worked with C# or JavaScript knows how finicky those programming languages are. This guy could have gotten just a space or used a colon instead of a semicolon, and he thought, oh, I got it right. I did everything that I was supposed to do, and I just didn't get anywhere, so screw it. He never touched it again. And that's a shame because the guy really, really was, he was very much into gaming. I thought he was a creative guy and he had spirit. He was really motivated. But the thing is he did not give himself permission to fail at the very beginning. And when he failed, that was just too much for him. And that sucks. So don't be that person. Give yourself permission to fail. And when you fail, understand you are not the first person to encounter the issue that you are. One of the great things about game development these days, it is not like an exclusive club. If you are encountering an issue with Unity development, Unreal development, scripting, Photoshop, anything, trust me, you are not the first person to have a problem, to have this issue. Go onto the forums. Every company that produces a asset for the Unity platform has their own Discord and their own forum, and they always get back in touch with you. I remember the first time I ever did, the first app I ever developed, it was a video game for cats. It was just a simple iPad game for cats. And I was having frustration because, for setting up the buttons, there was just something wrong. And for 6 hours, I just beat my head up against it. And man, I was feeling really rotten. But then I went on to just a live chat and on a Discord, and I said, hey guys, I'm having this issue. And this guy in Australia helped me for an hour, step by step. And he helped me get that first thing going and helped me learn a lot. So, there's no shame in admitting that you don't know everything going in. No shame in admitting that you need a little bit of help. Please take advantage of those resources. So let's go on to the next one. Okay, now this is another thing you need to learn at the very beginning of things. Oh, only 4 concurrent viewers, like I said. We're dropping them like flies. This is important. Don't fall in love with your own work. And apologies for the misnumbering here. We're just going to proceed. I apologize. These were in sequential order. I don't know how this happened. This is because it's almost ubiquitous among programmers. I have a let's see, my cousin's husband. He works as a programmer for defense contractors, and I mean, he told me, you know, on my opening days of game development, he said, just be ready. I mean, from the very beginning, even when you're starting to write a line of code or create something in there, accept that that thing is going to be either deleted, improved upon, or made redundant even before you finish. Just accept that. If I have to compare it to anything, I would say be like those monks who spend all those like hours creating those sand Mandelas that they just immediately wipe away. It's about the process. It isn't about the the solutions. You'll always find better solutions as you go along, and you'll curse time lost. And hey, spilt milk. Don't lose anything. Okay. Oh yeah, that I mentioned. Accept that what you make today will most likely be either revised or replaced tomorrow. This has happened in Peace Island so many times. I think the houses, we are on the 5th iteration of the house architecture in game. We've had about 4 people working on the player controller. I've redone the biomes so many times. Interiors. Oh goodness, we've had some interiors that have been redone as many as 4 or 5 times. It happens. And if you'll pardon me just this moment, number 1, I'm going to turn the heater down, and number 2, I'm going to refill my beverage because it's getting a little bit warm in this corner. Just give me a moment. Thanks for sticking with me, all 3 of you. I'll be right back. Yes, and I know that I speak rather quickly and rather imprecisely at times. I try to slow my brain down to the point that I can communicate a little bit better. Let's see here. Now, like I said, you are going to have to do and redo and see other people come in and redo work that you spent so much time creating that you just have to get it inside your head that you are, I don't know, work is transitory, but every step that you do take gets you toward that goal. And, don't be too upset when that happens, because if you do, you're not going to make it as game developer. You're just not. Oh, sorry, wrong. Okay, is that the last one of that one? That's the last one of that. So let's move on. Okay, track your work. And when I say track your work, I mean take frequent screenshots and videos of your work as you create your project. From the very start of work on Peace Island, I took screenshots several times a day because I knew that there would be times when I felt the game development wasn't proceeding as fast as I think it should be, or it wasn't getting where I needed it to be, or I was getting nowhere, or was moving backwards. And I knew I could just look at screenshots from 1 week before, and I'd be able to go, oh, no. Look at all the new stuff. There's new stuff. I mean, you are going to get a little bit discouraged at times, and having a record of your progress is a very good thing for you emotionally, especially when you do work in a situation where your work can get erased and overwritten at a moment's notice, as I previously mentioned. Let's see. Let's go down. Oh, I think that's the last of this one. Assets. Now, this is a big one. Um, I'll just go up and I'll just give a quick thing. For those who are not aware in game development, both the Unity and Unreal game development platforms have give their users access to a multitude of assets. And they can be as simple as like 3D models or as complex as full skyboxes, weather systems, quest systems, etc., etc. Now, the thing is because of the real easy way that you can get your hands on them, it's very easy to become dependent upon them. And some game developers believe that they can just go onto the asset store and create a game using just what they find on there. Now, what they call this is asset flipping, and it is real. If you're not familiar with the case of Digital Homicide Studios, I recommend just Googling Digital Homicide and / Jim Sterling, because these guys were, I mean, on top of a lot of really bad other business practices, they were guilty of asset flipping. They just went onto the store and just bought a bunch of prefabs, like 3D shooter game, just add your own graphics, and then they went on to like Google image search and just downloaded the worst GIFs and JPEGs and such, and came out with some really bad games. And that's one thing. That's the thing. If you do depend upon them solely, it's a bad thing, and it can lead to things like Digital Homicide and really bad games and your failure. But of course, you're too smart for that, and you won't do that. I will say that I relied on assets because they are incredibly useful. I relied on them, but I did not consider them. Here's the thing. Here's how I put it. If I, for example, was trying to make a graveyard around the church, and I had two choices. I could either open up 3D Studio Max, and I could create a whole set of tombstones, model them, and then texture them. And I figure a job like that would take me, if I was really quick, about 4 or 5 hours. Now, on the other hand, I can go onto the asset store and for about $5 buy a pre-made tombstone pack that I can go in and modify to my needs very quickly, and thus save myself 4 or 5 hours. I'm going to do that. Similarly, I am not going to spend a heck of a lot of time programming something as complex as a skybox, when there are skyboxes that do work. Does that mean that I couldn't have made this game without those assets? Here's the thing. I believe in the end, I could have made this game solo by myself without any assets. But I think that in the end, that game would have run maybe on 1 or 2 PCs in the world at all. And if it did run on any Macintosh computers, it would have probably caused them to explode. Take advantage of the tools that are there, but don't make them the be-all and end-all. You are still going to have to write a game. You are still going to have to take these tools. The best way I could put it is, let's just see. Let's go down for you for a moment. Okay, now, I'm existing. There's a heck of a lot of attitude in the game development world where, and I encountered this on Reddit when I was just starting off. They said, unless you're hard coding everything from scratch, you're not a real game developer. And that made me think of somebody, that's analogous to saying, unless you go out and find a horse and pull the hairs out of their butt one by one and hammer the brass around a stick and create the brush yourself and grind the pigments from the natural, from like elements that you pull from the ground, then you are not a real painter and you're not a real artist. And I guarantee you there would be people that if I did take the hard route, as far as like those gravestones that I mentioned earlier, and I modeled the gravestones from scratch, there are some game developers who would say, my goodness, you used a 3D program to make those gravestones. You couldn't hard code that 3D stuff. I mean, what's wrong with you? And I am always bringing up this analogy. I brought it up this example. I brought it up a dozen times before about the one guy who typified this concept of hand coding everything from the ground up. And he had spent 9 months of his life recreating the Oregon Trail video game from scratch, not copying everything. He wrote the music using code, he wrote the graphics using code, everything from scratch. And I said, that's absolutely fantastic. That's a testament to like your dedication. And yeah, you can definitely say you coded that from the ground up, but you know what? I see absolutely nothing original here. You spent 9 months of your life reinventing a wheel from the late 70s. Was that the best use of your time? I mean, bless him, bless the guy. But and here's the bottom line about assets, can I just say. Don't listen to the people who yell at you because you may use an asset for something that you do not have the budget or the time to handle at at a certain point in your development. Don't listen to the people who give you the trouble of that, because the pros use assets. Ever since I've gotten into Unity development, I've played about, I'd say about a half dozen games that I've gotten off the Steam store. No, not Steam store. Yeah, Steam. And one of them was Wasteland 2, by the way. Big thumbs down on that one. Really buggy, couldn't even finish it. But anyway, those guys used, I recognized, they were using some of the exact same speed tree assets that we are using. I've also seen the same speed tree assets in other games, but goodness, jeez, would I get sued if I started just like going, these people use assets, these people use assets. I don't want to trash anybody, but trust me, if a heck of a lot, just about every major developer uses pre-made assets. They just do. And half of those that say they don't are absolutely lying. And the rest of those people, like that guy who recoded Oregon Trail, they're guys who are basically making something no one will ever want to play. Okay. You're going to have to spend some money. And this ties into a little bit of also that purist thing of you have to do everything from scratch. You used money to buy an asset, you used money to hire a coder to help you out, then you're not a game developer. How can you do that? You have to do everything by yourself, in your basement. And if your basement has windows, well, then you're not a game developer. Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent, but you get where I'm coming from there. You're going to have to spend some money. How many games have been developed and released on a budget of nothing? None. Not a one. Not a one. And if you say, if I'm spending money on it, then it's no longer a hobby. All hobbies cost. If you're going to get a hobby as a model plane builder, you got to spend money on materials. If you're going to, any hobby costs money, and anybody who thinks that game development you shouldn't spend money on your game development project because somehow that makes your project less pure. That's such bullshit. And also, I got this sort of out of order. As you see above there, give yourself a budget. Myself, at the time I was developing this game, I was working with a bunch of folks at the line cook job, and what I noticed is, one of my coworkers, he liked going to the movies twice a week, and one of my coworkers, he smoked half a pack of cigarettes a day, and I realized, geez, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend I'm going to set aside about $3 a day, and with that money. I was able to hire a coder to help me out in the early days. I was able to buy a few assets that, again, streamlined the process. If I had been coding this from the ground up, my goodness, I don't think I would have even gotten finished with the terrain by now. Let's see, did I miss anything in this one? No, I didn't. Okay, now, miscellaneous talent. Now, this is something that just infuriates me and it amuses me. Because I was recently at a game developers, meeting, and for about a half hour, the speaker there, he was detailing this very nice roguelike project he had going on. It looked a little bit like Hades, and he went on for an hour about how hard it was to find somebody to do a little bit of clip art and how hard it was to find somebody to do a little bit of audio for him. I could have saved him all the months of anguish that he described, and plus all of our time had I had chance 3 seconds to just say this. Fiverr.com, okay? This is a site. If you need one piece of artwork or 100 pieces of artwork, if you need one piece of music or a dozen pieces of music, if you have a poem that you need somebody to turn into a musical score and then have somebody produce it into a full orchestrated version, go to Fiverr.com. Those and so many other services are there. You would have to spend so much time trying to find somebody just to be able to do a little bit of voiceover work. But go to Fiverr. You'll find voiceover artists. You'll find musicians. You'll find artists of every stripe. You'll even find Unity coders that might be able to help you out. That's all you need to know if you need to get some miscellaneous talent. I mean, if you don't find it on Fiverr.com, maybe go to Craigslist, but really once on Fiverr.com, I was just looking around for a graphic artist, and somehow in my search, this guy came up, and he said, I will write excellent North Korea or Tajikistan Civil War article for you, $5. And I looked over in my change drawer and I was like, I don't know anything about the Tajikistan Civil War. I'm going to hire this guy just on a lark. And honest to goodness, the guy sent me I got a 10-page essay detailing this history of this entire conflict, of all these things. Honest to goodness, Fiverr. I don't mean to advertise, but that's where you find your missed talent. Now we're going to get into something that, if there are any musicians out there, sorry for the belching, just think of me as Rick Sanchez, perhaps. We're going to get into music. Now, this may hurt the feelings of some musicians out there, but let's just drag it all the way down. You should have no problem. 4 months into creating Peace Island, the guy, what was his name? Kyle Preston. He created the soundtrack for, I believe it was, was it Seed? Oh, goodness. You're gonna have to forgive me. It was Newsweek's Game of the Year in 2017. Anyway, this guy that I was getting headliner talent offering me music within 4 months of the start of development of Peace Island. I have gotten probably hundreds, I'd say well over 200 letters from musicians wanting to work on Peace Island. And I don't think you, given my experience, you will have any problem finding musicians willing to do music for your game. And that means, well, unless you want something specific, and I could suggest that considering the market being as it is, you have the luxury of being specific, because don't settle. This is your game. There are so many games that were made by their soundtracks and enhanced by their soundtracks. Don't disregard the music as something that's on the back burner or secondary. It's essential to the player experience. And again, I got so many letters from game people who've said, I want to do game music. And I'd say 9 out of 10 of them immediately went in the trash because I listened to their stuff and it sounded like video game music. Don't put video game music in your video game. I mean, come on. Unless you're doing some platform and you're trying to get some like 80s, 90s nostalgia out of it, don't. Go for unconventional. Make something that's unique, please. Please. Because if you're putting so much effort in creating your game, make something original, please. Oh, goodness. Let's see, go back. Okay, let's see. I think I should. Okay, social media and promotion. That is not your number one job as a game developer. At the beginning, at midway, or even at the end. I mean, throughout the entire process of making Peace Island, I didn't do a lot of the things that a lot of game developers do, like set up a Kickstarter in the first six weeks of creating the video game, because I was like, I want to create a game. I'm not here to promote my idea. I'm here to make the idea. And I mean, that doesn't mean that I didn't promote it at all. Like I said, every day I was taking screenshots. Every other day I'd post some to Twitter. But it wasn't my main goal in life was promoting anything. It was just more, again, about making the game. Now, this is something that I'm being asked constantly because of my experience from 2019. You see, in late July. In late July of 2019, Peace Island suddenly went viral in a way that none of us ever anticipated. Understand, at a certain point, I had set up a Patreon, and I think we had like $5 coming in. It had sit there for about 3 months, and I wasn't too concerned about it. But one day, I was just, let's see, one day I came home from work at after an 11-hour shift at the grill, and I posted a picture on Facebook, 2 pictures. One was the same spot on Peace Island. They were both at the same spot on Peace Island, but they were separated by a year, showing off the progress. Now, that evening, I posted that picture because I had another full shift the next day. I immediately went to bed. And you see, what happened overnight is that the images, those 2 images have been shared to a Facebook page called The Shocking Group of Denkato, I believe. I think that's what it's called. But it is a very, very popular cat lovers group on Facebook. And the next morning I woke up and my Patreon had gone up to about like $27 from $5. And I was like, oh, wow. And when I got home from work that evening, it was up to 91. The next day, it was up to, I think, 250. And I mean, it just kept. it was a very, very exhilarating and fright and just a frightening time. I will say it was frightening because I mean, having something like that happen to you, I mean, everybody wants that to happen to their project, and when it's happening to you, you're like, oh my gosh! Now that it's here, you feel like a deer in the headlights. And the thing is people have been asking me 100 times since then, Eric, how did you do it? How did you do it? How did Peace Island become like viral, and how did you get so much support? There is absolutely no secret. The thing is if I had posted those same 2 pictures probably 10 minutes before that moment or 10 minutes after, it would have been completely ignored by that one person who shared it, and it would have never gone anywhere, and I'd still be working at that restaurant today. It is that arbitrary. You never, ever know. And the thing is Facebook wasn't the primary place that I posted stuff. Like I said, I usually posted stuff to Twitter. So, I mean, I have no advice on how to, like, make your little hidden project suddenly capture the world's attention. I don't know. It's just, all I can say is make the game as to the best of your ability, and just keep at it. That's at it. That's all I can say. And promote it, on and off, but don't promote it so often that it becomes tired. I mean, one of the neat things about Peace Island is that because I didn't promote it so heavily, a heck of a lot of people, when they discovered it, they felt that they had discovered it and it was theirs. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't something that hundreds of people had they had mobbed into it with. They had just discovered it on their own, and they were like, and I think that's why we have we have a lot of very dedicated patrons, and a lot of people really believe in our project, and I think it's because of that intimate, mode of discovery. If you're going to promote it, don't blare it out. Just, put it out there and let the idea stand on its own merit. If you have to scream and yell about your idea, et cetera, well, your idea sort of sucks. Let's see. This is sort of these next 2 things are pretty much boilerplate. You may have seen these at GDC conferences. In the top 10 mistakes. Okay, but don't say your game is for everyone, because you are lying. And any gamer that you tell that to is going to know that you're lying to. Any publisher and any game journalist is going to know that you're lying to them, because that game does not exist. There might very well be very tiny overlap in the Venn diagrams between people who play Madden football and the people who play Journey and a Monument Valley. I don't doubt there are some players like that, but you don't see them advertising Monument Valley on ESPN. Just be honest with yourself and the gamers out there, because you'll thank yourself and the gamers will thank you, because number one, the gamers that are interested in your niche product will find your niche product, and the people that otherwise would be just following your thing only be disappointed at the end, they'll be warned off at the beginning, and they'll go, oh yeah, this isn't my thing. And yeah, you do want as many eyeballs as possible on your project, but don't say your game is for everyone. And this next one is particularly true for people who are creating, like me, and I am guilty of this one, and this is why I put it in here. This next one is for people who are creating open world adventure games that have story-driven progress mechanics. Okay? Don't compare your game to Gone Home. Gone Home has already been made. Nobody wants another Gone Home. Make your game. Don't go to a publisher and say that you're made. I did that a couple of times, and that was before I saw a GDC conference where this guy was just on stage just raging, don't do that! And I was like, oh my gosh, hide my eyes in shame. So don't hide your eyes in shame, and don't compare your game to Gone Home. So, next. Okay, now this is for if when you get to the point that you actually are making your game and you have a group you're working with and you have a pool of talent and a little bit of money to work with, and you're like, oh boy, I finally can spend all my days making my game. Understand that your new life as lead developer, and I'm speaking to you as because I'm figuring you're going to be a lead developer, and these next hints are for that, or these next pieces of advice are for them. Your new life as a full-time game developer is not going to be what you expect it to be. You are going to be 90% of your time every day is going to be spent in doing paperwork, paying bills, attending meetings, answering questions from your team members or the people that you work with, handling the premiums if you're doing the Patreon Kickstarter thing. I honest to goodness have to spend one day each week just dealing with the premiums that we send out and customer service, because as lead dev, you're the only person who's in contact with everybody and knows where to get the answers. So unfortunately, once you reach that golden point, once your project has become viral, and you do have that pool of talent and money, you're going to be very lucky to be able to touch your game once in a while and actually work on it. This here, paperwork, mediums, premium, customer service, that's your life. And you may go, well, goodness, that sort of sucks. But, I'm just going to do a little bit of a Google really quick. I'm going to do a bit of a Google because I need to research the name before I say it and don't make an ass out of myself. Okay, Kojima. Yeah. Hideo Kojima. If anybody has seen the documentaries about the making of Death Stranding, you will have seen Hideo Kojima. His job, basically, he came into the studio and he went from person to person from group to group to group and made sure that everybody was on the same page, everything is moving along. That's what you got to do. And hey, if it's good enough for Kojima, it's good enough for you. You can go, hey, I'm just like Kojima. Yeah. And let's move down. Okay. Find joy in management. Now, it's going to be tough, but again, that's follow Kojima's example. There is joy in going around and just making sure that every T is crossed, every I is dotted, and just making sure everybody has what they need. And I can I just say I spent the last couple of weeks transferring all the names. Wow, I've been talking for 48 minutes straight, and I'm not even done yet. I'm probably going to go for another 20 minutes. Sorry, guys. But I was doing these spreadsheets, and you wouldn't think doing spreadsheets of all, if people contributed, if our patrons on Peace Island, they contribute over a certain level, they get their name mentioned in the game. Now, I gave everybody at that level 128 ways that their name can be mentioned inside the game. They sent me back all of their responses. I've got thousands of responses, and I've had to put them into 2 different spreadsheets. And you'd think, oh my gosh, that would be just incredibly, incredibly dull. Actually, it's very interesting and to read what these guys want in the game. And also, when you look, I mean, for example, some people are paying homage to relations that have passed away and their pets, and it's actually it's really touching in a way, and you get this sense that wow, this game, it means a lot to other people. It isn't just me, and I'm creating. It's bigger than what I'm creating, and it was actually just a very I can't come up with a very touching experience. to come to that realization. And you wouldn't think you get that from a spreadsheet, but I definitely did. I don't regret any of those the week and a half I spent doing it, because I learned so much. But let's go down to the next one. Oh, that's the last one. Find joy in management. But I think there's another. I think I've diversified. Okay, learn management skills. I never. Hold on, I got to turn up the heater. I'll be right back. 10 seconds. Okay. When I worked as a line cook before starting Peace Island, back, I think I started at late 2016, 2017. Within 2 weeks, the owner of the place, the guy owning the place, was saying, "Hey, Eric, you want to become a manager here? You're gonna be a night manager. You make $2 more an hour." And I said, "No." Even though I was desperate for money, I didn't want to become a manager. I didn't want to become responsible for other people's work. I always told him, dude, if you put me in charge of this, if you put me in charge of like locking up the restaurant every night and making sure the alarm is set and everything, I guarantee you the next morning you guys are going to wake up and you're going to come in here and you're going to find like a village of Kurds has set up their village inside the restaurant and are roasting beef over the grill. It would just be a disaster. And it wasn't long after that magic moment when Peace Island went viral that I realized, oh my God, I'm a manager. I became all that thing that I avoided all those years at the line cook job. I just dropped into MGS. I'm going to read these comments once I'm done with my long ramble here. I'm sorry, but like I said, I just want to get this on. But you got to learn your management skills, because let me tell you, game developers, geez, if you're anything like me, you're an asocial person. I mean, I'm a cat person. I don't like going out, don't like dealing with people, but you got it. And here's where we get into the details. Okay, put your ego aside. When you get your team members, and I'm going to start using the word team members, even though I hate using that term, because the other word is coworkers. Maybe I should. When your coworkers come in to the project, they will, unfortunately, you're going to have to start delegating parts of the project to them. And you have to understand, you brought them on because they are more skilled than you in many areas, and you have to listen to them and give up these things that you used to think were yours. This is my idea. This is mine. No, you have to just let it go, because if the project is to succeed, you have to just take a step back and let the talented people that you chose take the lead and on those various things. It's going to be hard, and the thing is don't do it. You will do it, but don't do it too easily, because here's the thing. Some of the people, they will have some wacky ideas. So, in addition to, we'll cover that a little bit, coming up a little bit. Actually, let's just skip ahead, because, okay. This was something that I learned very, very recently. And let's see, I'm just going over. My music ended, and I just want my soundtrack playing in the background, because I don't like having silence in the background one. Okay, let's see. Go back to this, and put that back up. Okay. All right. Sorry. I'm know your limitations. Okay. And I'm not saying, again, like I said above, when you hand off something to somebody, hand it off to them and don't intrude. I'm just saying, know your limitations in dealing with other people. Again, I'll be straight up with you. I'm an asocial person. I don't communicate well, as you may have noticed. Um, I tend to become short-tempered, et cetera, et cetera. And the thing is at a certain point, you got to know your EQ. And that means your emotional quotient. I believe it is what it is. And I mean, a lot of people, there are some people who say the whole EQ thing is like this new age hippie thing. But no, it is something you have to look into. Because if you don't know your limitations and you're not used to dealing with people, the people that you work with will occasionally do things that will trigger you. And you have to have the humility to admit, okay, I have a weak point here. I need to get over myself. I need to identify, okay, I'm triggered. Take a deep breath. Don't react. Take a step back and view it, just a little bit more calmly. Because, I mean, I approach Peace Island with the attitude of an artist, and there's that old phrase that every artist is his own worst critic. And you can be your own worst critic, but you can't be the worst critic of the people that you work with. You have to just, if there's a problem in communication, if there's a problem, 90% of the time, if it happens in Peace Island, it's me. And it took me a while to realize that. And give yourself a head start by understanding your own limitations and knowing how to act and work with other people. If you are unused to working with people, if you are not, I mean, if you're the person who, like me, was working, on his project alone me and Laura alone for 2 years for a year, and didn't, I don't know, and never had any management experience before. Please work on that, because if you don't, it's going to bite you in the ass and it's going to kill your project. It will. Because let's see, this is very important. You must understand your position relative to those who work for you. Okay. Understand that you're not a bunch of buddies. You're headlining a project that is not only a matter of interest to them personally, but it is also their bread and butter. And we're going to talk about payment later. Understand that when you are talking to the people that you work with, whether you realize it or not, your words come with the authority of a boss. Even though you may not think of yourself as one, you have to realize that that's the case. And just check, be a little bit more circumspect. Understand that whenever you're speaking with the people that you work with, understand that whether you like it or not, you're the boss. And even though you may just be the guy who goes from cubicle, like Kojima, from cubicle to cubicle to cubicle to make sure that everything is, you're still the boss, and your words hold weight, and be cognizant of the weight that they hold. And that doesn't mean that I'm trying to make it, oh goodness, you're God and everything. No, you're the leader of your damn project is what I'm saying. Act like it. Anyway, let's see. Okay. Now this is going up to knowing your limitations and putting your ego aside. Communicate and listen as clearly and thoroughly as you can. Yeah, I'm not going to move my video window. I cannot emphasize that enough. You may notice again that I speak very quickly, sometimes imprecisely. When you're speaking with the people that you work with, you have to be cognizant of every word you use. Be as thorough as possible. Be as clear as possible. Ask follow-up questions to make sure that there's no misunderstanding. And when somebody tells you something, make sure you don't walk away going, yeah, he said some words. No, If you, there's no shame in saying, excuse me, could you please repeat yourself? Could you please explain that? You need to understand because, again, you are the boss, whether you like it or not. You have to understand. No one's going to understand for you. And now this is, the old, the old rap refrain, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Hold on for a moment. It seems I've gone through, I'll be right back, guys. I need to get another beverage to wet my whistle. Hold on for a moment. Okay, this thing about checking yourself before you're wrecking yourself. That is that ties into what I was saying earlier about understanding. Oh, geez, did I leave my glass? Sorry, guys. Ha! Yeah, no other live caster does that. Just quits and like runs off twice and grabs beverages and cups. But hey, I don't have a mini fridge by my desk. But anyway, check yourself before you wreck yourself is all about those two previous things: understanding your position and communicating clearly and thoroughly as possible. Sometimes I have found myself in a conversation with people, and I think I'm just asking very routine questions. And because I am not fully tracking, fully understanding the weight of my words and everything, it has led to situations where, things get a little bit, I don't know, tensions get a little bit high. And those situations happen mostly because I am just not, because I didn't pay attention or because I just didn't communicate myself thoroughly, or I was just going in there maybe using one word that should not have been used in that context in a working situation. Get used to your new lifestyle. You can't just that's one thing. I could tell you, this was before, again, I worked on Peace Island. I was a line cook. And as Anthony Bourdain said in his book, Kitchen Confidential, kitchen staff, we are lunatic barbarians. We are barbarians of the gate. You should be glad we are all in the kitchen and not out in the dining room, because we would be out there throwing things at smearing the walls with our own feces. That's anyway. I cannot bring that same line cook, work ethic into this new environment that I'm working with, because it just doesn't work. Anyway, that may have sounded very vague. Let's see. And also the whole smearing of feces thing. Let's see. Okay. Now, honesty and respect. I think this is one of the reasons that Peace Island has been successful as far as like crowdfunding and such, and our reputation among our supporters, is that we are 100% transparent about our funding, our financing, where the game is, where every particular element is. If anybody has a question, we are always willing to answer, and you have to be that way, not only with, the public, but people that you work with and me you may work with. So let's get through this list really quick, because I've been going now for 1 hour and 4 minutes. Okay. This gets into the things where you're probably thinking that this is a no-brainer. I of course I wouldn't lie to the people I work with, especially if they were working for me. I'm 50 years old now, and I think I have now worked for 3 different people who ran multi-million dollar businesses, who did not have the courage to be honest with myself and everybody else in the office and let us know that the company is in financial difficulty and it may be shutting down. In all three circumstances, we didn't know anything until we walked in and they were auctioning off the stuff in the office, or they were, packing everything up and shipping it off. Honest to goodness, if you can't make payroll for the week, go and talk to your people and say, I can't make payroll. Do you, don't lie. Don't, honest to goodness, especially to the people that work for you and the people who give you money on Patreon. Just honest to God, if things are tough, for example, on Kickstarter, at a certain point in the game's development, I was out of money. And I went to the people on Kickstarter and I said, listen, guys, this game is going to take me a little bit longer than I thought, and we are unfortunately very, very low on funds. And, I'm going to have to go back to work at the restaurant a little bit more because, but you know what? I'm going to work on this game for as long as it freaking takes. But here's the deal, guys. I violated your trust. I said I would get the game done in this amount of time. I did not. But here's my address. Get in touch with me. I will give you your money back in full. And I waited. Not a single one of them asked for their money back because for the previous months of development, I had been 100% upfront with them and they knew where I was coming from. They knew I wasn't lying. I wasn't trying to pull anything over their heads. Bad things happen to all businesses, and it's only natural. It's unnatural when the guy running the business just goes, we're not having any problems here. Everything's great. So, yeah, God, don't be that one person. God. Okay. Now this, don't lie to publishers. And when I say don't lie to publishers, there's a specific lie I think that you need to be honest with publishers about. Every publisher and every major game company that I've spoken with has asked me, hey, Eric, how many people are working on your project? And let me tell you, the first couple of times I answered that question, I was probably like a number of people out there, like a number of people maybe watching this video right now. I was like, oh, no, man, this is a labor of love. It was me, it was Laura, and there's this one guy, Alex, in Greece that I work with once in a while to get some coding done. And so I'd say, we have 3 members on our team. Look at what we've been able to create with 3 people. And they'd say, okay. No, the thing is that's the wrong response. Understand that there are 1,000,001 game studios that tried to create a video game with 2 or 3 people. Go out and play a couple of video games and look at the credits and see how many of those games have 2 or 3 people in the credits. None. When a publisher asks you how many people are working on their game, they are asking how viable your project is. How wide is this guy's talent pool? How many people can he draw on? This also gives us an idea of how much money he or she has, etc., etc. So when the publisher asks you how many people work for your company, go through in your mind. Have a list beforehand. Make a list. If somebody did a little bit of voiceover, if somebody did a little bit of scribbly graphics, include them. Give them as many people. Be honest. Don't lie, but also don't sell your company short by telling this person, oh, we only have about 3 or 4 people, because that person will go, oh, God, these guys have no chance at all. They don't have funding. They don't have people. They don't even have money. People for play testing. Screw these guys. Yeah, because every publisher goes every 2 seconds, like those people live under sea in SpongeBob. Anyway, so that's the thing. When I did not know that going in. At the very beginning, I was, oh no, this is a labor of love made by 2 handmade by 2 artisans. No, you want to just say, no, man, we got an industrial process going on here. Lots of talent. So, okay, and again. This takes me back to what I was saying before. Don't lie to your patrons. If you are relying on crowdfunding, if you're encountering delays, let them know. If you having problems in development, if you are having victories or defeats, share them with your patrons. Because here's the thing, your patrons have signed on not only for the game, but also the experience of, supporting a project like yours. And, the highs and the lows come with that. It's almost like, love. They're looking for the experience. And don't be afraid to go to your patrons and just go, listen, guys, things aren't panning out. It's going to be a little bit longer before we get things done. Just be honest with them and upfront. Because, again, if you're just obfuscating, going, hey, everything was great until my mother got ran over by a lorry carrying a buffalo. No, that ain't going to fly, okay? Just like everybody else, honesty is the best policy. Come on, guys, come on. Don't lie. Okay, this is so important. This is so important. I'm going to move my thing so you can see it. Move my ugly face. Let's see. Yeah, move that over here. Come on. Okay. Pay the people you work with. Rev share is an insult. It is an absolute insult to come to somebody and say, I want to partake of your labor, and you know what? In exchange, you get a promise of something that might happen. No. I used to be an illustrator, and oh my God, the people that would constantly come to me and go, I'm starting a fanzine. It would be so great for your exposure, for your skills if you gave illustrations for this fanzine that, of course, is never going to see the light of day and never get published. And no, pay the people. The thing is sometimes, game devs make a hell of a lot of money. But that doesn't mean that everybody wants $75 to $100 an hour. There are some people who just want to work on a game, and they'll give you a piece of coding for $25, $50 or $100 if you really need it. If you need a piece of AI for a couple thousand, just pay, because also you'll get better work. You'll get more dedication, et cetera, and that's why I said, way up above, way back in the video, set aside a budget so they can pay people, because rev share is an insult. It truly is. You're trying to get talented people to help bring your vision, your creation alive, and you can't throw them a couple of bucks. Come on. You don't deserve to be in the business. Go away. I think that's that, and we're on our last slide. Hallelujah. And then we're on the last thing, and this is self-care, and this is something that people just sort of brush under the rug, but it's absolutely true. You have to take care of yourself. You absolutely must, because game development is an incredibly stressful, long, labor-intensive job that you may spend as many as 11 hours a day at. Sometimes longer, and it's very tempting to go, oh my goodness, so many people are depending on this, the people that work for me are depending on this, the people out there who are our patrons are depending on this. I'm gonna work 7 days a week until it's done. No, that's you're just killing yourself. You have to take care of yourself, and that means getting sleep, getting a proper amount of sleep, eating proper, getting exercise, getting away from the computer. Even if you go into the living room and stare at a different screen for a few hours and sit and play with your cats, at least you're getting away from that. You need time off. This job has its own dangers, man. Okay. And this goes with the people that you work. Never ask anyone you work with to do something you are not willing to do yourself. If you're a lead dev, come on, lead from the front. Be like a general, man. And I think that pretty much stands on its own. I don't need to explain it anymore. Okay, now, this is very important, too. Well, these are all important. Make it mandatory that everyone, including you, take at least 1 day a week off. 1 full day. And that means from the moment you wake up and to the moment you go to bed, don't work on the project. And if you find yourself at the computer just like, oh, the mouse is going toward that folder, oh man, I don't know, just Just get away as fast as you can. Walk out of the house and around the block. You have to get away. There are limits to human endeavor, and you may think, you may think your dedication to the project will get you through. That's sort of like the guy who's like, I can go and live in the forest with my girlfriend. Our love will get us through. Yeah, right. No, you have to take care of yourself. Take a week off, get out of the house, and think about something. Have at least some respite from this. I can tell you this is the biggest thing I've ever done in all my 50 years, and it can become all-consuming. Don't let it become that way. Have a little bit of time off for yourself. Let's see. Okay, I think this is the last one. Yeah, get ready for recurring dreams. May sound very odd, but here's the thing, is ever since, for the last year or so, the last couple of years, ever since I started working on this game, and I've had absolutely nothing going on, and this seems to happen with every large job I set myself to. Every night, now, I have a dream where I am moving stuff from a bedroom or a living room or a dining room out to the front where a moving crew is going to move it into a van. And every time I go back to the room that I'm emptying out, there's more stuff there. Considering the very blatant, metaphor my brain is setting up there, I can't help but know that this is related to the job that I'm doing. It's just, I've gotten to the point that I could be a little bit more of a lucid dreamer. When I see myself slipping into these dream patterns, I'll just blow the house up and walk away and hope that, some other dream will come in. But anyway, it's been a long hour and 16 minutes. This was longer than I thought I'd go. But hopefully I was not too pedantic and I made a little bit of sense. I'm going to read the comments and questions that have been piling up over the last hour plus, and I'm going to answer any questions that you may have. But here's the thing, we've gone on so long, I think we're going to have to wait for a Peace Island demo until next time. So let me see what I see over here. Okay, Germany, North Sea, wrong window, sorry. Okay, I'm just over here in my, let's see, Peace Island, how is everyone? Both the cats are my favorite, so excited for the game. Yep, cats are great, yes. Okay, in the end I spent less time on the second version. Yeah, little late, hi Batty Cats, Jersey, Shire, sound so important to the players, but yep. And that's one thing, Jersey. We do want to make a version of Peace Island eventually for the deaf, and that means we are going to have to come up with visual clues that will, mimic the sound, and that's something to look forward to. Let's see. Loki music. Hello from Germany, North Sea. What's the topic? Yeah. Let's see. Sounds Eric. Don't doubt yourself. Thank you. Yep. A lot of Loki. Hi. You are what you are. Free world. Oh man, he's been talking a lot. Hi Loki. You got a lot to say. Yeah. Yeah. Oh no! You're not spamming. It's just you had a lot to say, and that's cool. Here's the thing. I didn't mean to sound as if I was coming off as apologizing. I just wanted to say that I when I'm giving out this advice here, it comes from personal experience. I cannot. I'm not somebody who's just saying, this is my advice from on high and you must trust me. And no, this is me saying, listen, I've screwed up and this is how much it sucks. And really, I'm giving this little pointless talk so that you guys avoid the same problems, should you embark upon this. Let's see. Yeah, I'm sorry that I don't have much. Here's the thing about I don't want to show off Peace Island tonight because, I said earlier about knowing that your work might be deleted at any time. the latest build of Peace Island. I went into the project file and, I spent about a week hand painting the roads and another week resetting the biomes that set up where the trees and grass grow. All of that is gone. But the neat thing is because I always work on local backups, we can easily replace that stuff in a couple of days when everybody comes back to work on Monday. But it's just, oh my gosh, it's just another example of it just happens. You're like, hey, where did all my work go? All right, well, we're at 8:20, and if you guys don't have any other questions, I'm going to sign off because it's kind of hot here in my office corner, and I want to go and, stare at a different screen for a while. I spent a lot of today playing Stellaris. Today was my day off, but here's the thing, and that's why today's live cast also is not about Peace Island, so I can do this live cast and not violate my day off statute, Yeah, Stellaris, it's pretty, what they do. Yeah. Oh, Ender Star, yes. Excuse me. I'll just say I'm going to be here for 2 more minutes asking if you guys have any more questions or comments. Please put them in. If at 8:23 there are no more questions or comments, and I'm just going to have to say good night and thank you all for tuning in. I'm sorry today was not as cat game intensive as it usually is, but like I said, these are things that I wanted to get relate for quite a while. So, yeah. Let's see. We could just play that. Give epilepsy warning. I don't know. Put it back there. Yep. No. Honestly, I feel sad for not having the money support. Oh, no. Do. Well, Loki, hey, Loki, what say you PM me on, get in touch with us at peaceislandllc@gmail.com or go to our website. Get in touch. Maybe we can talk about it. Maybe set something up for you there. Let's see. Yeah, go to our website. It's peaceislandgame.com. Loki, yes, drop us a line. Yeah. Well, other than Loki's comment, I don't see anything. So, guys, we have 1 more minute. Well, 1 more minute. Sorry for all the belching and burping and sipping throughout the discussion, but hey, like I said, I rarely talk for more than maybe a minute at a time. So. Well, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. When we get this next alpha out in 2 weeks, I may do another live cast because we do have deer. We brought the deer back in and a lot of new stuff back in, and I think we'll have a lot of stuff to show off. So thanks again for tuning in, and we will talk soon. Thanks a lot for your support and checking out the game and all that, and we'll talk soon. Take care. Huh?